here's our review, Moving Towards Independence, Part 2. And we'll start right over with Ryland Mako, the man with the plan, and I'm going to ask him a question here. Okay, Ryland.
Yeah.
Who took over the British Parliament in 1767 and convinced Parliament to place taxes on all items of everyday use in America that were being imported from Great Britain? Who did that?
Charles Townsend.
Charles Townsend. Now, he is on the ID sheet, so we would expect his name to be spelled correctly. Okay, Alexa. What was the legal name of the search warrants that Parliament passed after the passage of the Townsend Acts? Writs of assistance. I believe that's on the ID sheet, is it not? Writs of assistance. Very good. Brian? Other than actions taken by colonial assemblies, name one way American colonists peacefully protested the Townsend Acts. Peacefully protested the Townsend Acts.
They refused to follow the Colonists after 1765.
Very good. There's one. How about another one over here? Julie, how about another one?
They get out in the street and collect the signatures and advertise.
Very good. Yeah, very good. They collected signatures or petitions and advertised. Okay. Josh, how about another one?
They re-signed the non-importation agreements.
Very good. And there's one more of importance, and we'll give that to Sully.
Colonial courts would refuse to issue like the ones who the cases.
Very good. Yeah, colonial courts refused to issue those. So you're going to need to know one. That's what the question was. Okay. All right, Peyton. Here's the question. List two ways American colonists took a more revolutionary approach to protesting the Townsend Acts. Give me one. This is where they were a little more radical than the Sons of Liberty. Give me two ways, give me one way. I'm asking you one, they're going to look for two. One way American colonists took a more revolutionary approach to protesting the Townsend Acts.
Was that when they got together in Virginia?
No, that was the colonial governments. They didn't really take a revolutionary report. I'm talking about people like the Sons of Liberty. Revolution. What are some of the things they did?
They damaged British ships.
Very good. Give me another one there, Andrew.
They faulted British officials.
What type of officials?
Like that.
Customs, yeah. Customs officials, tax collectors, yeah. Emily?
Assaulted British soldiers.
Who were sent to protect those custom officials. Meg?
They tarred and feathered any stitches.
Any stitches, that's a good way to put it, yeah. That'd be easier. Okay, Elise?
They taunted the British soldiers, calling them lobsters, bellybacks, and redcoats.
Very good. And Mackenzie, what's another one? Yeah, now don't put, for one they threw stones and for the other one put they threw snowballs. That won't work, okay? So make sure you have two of those, okay? Two, perfect. Okay, Andy. Name the British loyalist whose actions by shooting an innocent boy sparked what would be known in American history as the Boston Massacre. Ebenezer Richardson, also on your ID sheet. McKenna? Who was that innocent boy that was shot and killed, leading to angry colonial emotions against the British? Who was that little boy that was shot and killed by Ebenezer Richardson? Might you been drinking too much apple cider over there, or what? For Christopher's sake. You can't remember his name?
Kevin, he just
You don't have to
No,
find.
it's Christopher something.
Yeah,
What did he say?
Apple cider.
Christopher Cider. No, my hints are good. You gotta really listen. My hints are good. That's okay. Peyton, who was the founding father of America that no one knows?
Joseph Warren.
Joseph Warren. Very good. All right. Elise? This review sheet. Okay, now listen to the question. Explain the spark that fueled the fire contributing to the Boston Massacre. What regiment of British soldiers were involved, what the soldiers were guarding, and what the colonists did to provoke the soldiers to give the order to fire. Okay, give me the first part of that. What regiment of the British soldiers were involved?
The 29.
29th Regiment. What were the soldiers guarding, Charles?
Customs house?
Customs House, very good. And what did colonists do to provoke the soldiers to give them the order to fire? Ryland, you could actually say one, you could say two things, I only need one.
Well, they were taunting Q White.
Okay, you don't even get that detail.
Oh, okay.
They were taunting the soldiers by doing, how are they taunting them? By
Calling them names.
names, okay? What's another way, Sully, that they gave the order to fire?
One of the colonists started throwing the cheese ice at them.
Okay? All right. Here's the next question. In detail, explain the casualties of the Boston Massacre, including those that were named specifically. Now, this will amount to 3 answers, kiddos, 3 answers. So, first of all, I'm looking for the overall casualties, right? That would be one answer. And then the other 2 answers would be who we named specifically. So what are the overall casualties, Emily? Overall casualties. 5 men were either killed or mortally wounded. Okay? Now, Brian, give me one of the ones we mentioned of that 5. Crispus Attucks. And Charles, give me the other one. See if we can remember that. Who's the other one? Who was the other one? Yes.
Was it Patrick Carr?
Patrick Carr. Remember, Patrick Carr was the guy that stated that he heard a lot of people yelling, "Kill the soldiers," so he did not blame whomever it was for shooting him. So Patrick Carr, Crispus Attucks.
So those are the 3 questions.
So the answers, here's the question. It says, in detail, explain the casualties of the Boston Massacre, including those named specifically. 12, 13, and 14. For 12, it didn't have to be in this order, but for 12, you would put 5 men either killed or mortally wounded. Your second answer would be Crispus Attucks. Your third answer would be Patrick Carr. Not necessarily in that order.
Last name.
Carr?
C-A-R-R. The one who
Okay, Andy,
Grace's lady.
name the patriot lawyer who defended the British soldiers that were tried for the murder of American colonists during the Boston Massacre.
John Adams.
John Adams, very good. Julie, explain the end result of the trial, including the specific soldiers that were convicted. Again, that's going to be 3 answers, 16, 17, 18. So for 16, what was the end result of the trial?
I haven't voted.
Okay. Oh, who has it? What was the specific result of the trial? How many? 6 were acquitted or found not guilty, and
Then 2 men got charged for manslaughter and
That's-
got branded on the.
okay, you don't have to even say that. So what's the end result? 6 were acquitted, 2 were charged with manslaughter. Now, who are the specific ones that were named and charged with manslaughter? Who was one of them, Andy? Hugh Montgomery, and who is the other one, Josh? Matthew Kilroy. So that question again says, explain the end result of the trial, including specific soldiers that were convicted. The end result of the trial was 6 acquitted or 6 found not guilty, 2 convicted of manslaughter, and the ones that were convicted of manslaughter were Hugh Montgomery and Matthew Kilroy.
How do you spell Kilroy?
K-I-L-R-O-Y. Okay, Ryland. Who was the Prime Minister of Great Britain when the Townsend Acts were repealed? When they were repealed.
Was that Lord Frederick?
Lord Frederick, not South, North.
Yeah.
Okay, Lord Frederick North. He was the Prime Minister of Great Britain when the Townsend Acts were repealed. Hey, McKenna, this is all yours, baby. two-part question. Who is the British commander that made it his personal mission to stop all smuggling of goods by the colonists into American ports? And what was the name of his ship? Are you pulling, I don't know, and you really have it in here, but you just, you've been using this?
No, I thought it was 5.
Well, you have.
Tell us to put it last name.
Gotta get the last name. So what's the name? Shh. What's the commander's name, McKenna? William Duddingston. And what's the name of his vessel? Gaspee. Very good. Gaspee actually, but it's spelled Gaspee. Okay? Elise, who is the wealthy colonial merchant that was angry because his business was being hurt by the actions of this British commander?
John Brown.
John Brown. Okay? Charles? In order, name the 3 things this colonial merchant and his men did to get payback for their anger. In order. Charles, it's the first thing they did.
He was 65 men and
Well, we already passed that, but when they got there, what's the first thing they did? First thing they did when they pulled up to the Gaspee. First thing that happened.
just fucking started William Dudley.
That's exactly right. What's the second thing that happened, Andrew?
He survives because of the doctor.
Well, I don't care about him at this point. We just know the first thing that happened is he got shot, that William Dunstan got shot by Joseph Buckland. What's the second thing the crew did?
They captured the crew.
Captured the crew. And what's the third thing they did? Third thing, Peyton, they did.
They decided to burn the Gaspee, which blew up because of the powder chamber.
Perfect answer. They set the Gaspee on fire, which later blew up because of the powder magazine in the middle. Perfect. Okay? In order. Okay, it's a tough one, Sully. What was the main reason for the British Parliament's decision to enact the Tea Act of 1773? What was their main reason for that?
The East India trade was,
Too specific.
they were basically just using
Too specific. Why did the British government initiate the Tea Act of 1773? What was the main reason they did? To make sure the colonists knew that they had the power to tax them. Okay? So after the repeal of the Townsend Acts, the British government passed the Tea Act of 1773 simply to prove the point they had the power to tax the colonies. Now, you're not wrong in the other things you said, but the reason that they did it was to make sure they understood we still control you, we have the right to tax you. Okay, Emily? Give me a brief explanation of why members of the British Parliament were so eager to help the East Indian Company when the colonial boycott of British tea brought the company near bankruptcy.
because they all had money invested in them.
Okay, what do we call it when you invest in the stocks? You can simply put they all had stocks invested in the company. Okay, they all had stocks invested in the company. What's that?
So it must have been a pretty big company.
It was very big, yeah, very, very big. Okay, Kenzie, my dear, who did the British Parliament send to America to serve as governor of Massachusetts after the Boston Tea Party? Thomas Gage. Thomas Gage. I would rather the answer, I don't care about Thomas, so what I'd really like the answer to be is General Gage. Because that's the emphasis of it is he was a general. General Gage.
We skipped a little bit there.
We did?
I'm not skipped
We
like
just
you
read
know.
them.
We could go back. Oh,
We're writing it down.
all right, very good. I know you are. Okay, Alexa, because of the intolerable acts, the Patriots held numerous meetings in Massachusetts establishing resolutions that became known as what? Suffolk Resolves. Very good. Suffolk resolves. And the last question of the day will go to Brian. What was the name of the meeting that began on September 5th, 1774 with delegates from 12 of the 13 colonies that met in Philadelphia? The First Continental Congress. Okay, there you go. 30 answers, 3 points apiece. The test will be worth 90. I will ask you 5 extra credit questions worth a point apiece to see how deep you're comprehending here. So if you get those right, we'll give you a point apiece for those. Okay, that will be in the notes that have to do with everything we've talked about in moving towards independence, part 1 and 2. Now, I would not spend all my time studying for 5 points of extra credit, but you might peruse your notes and go from there. I'm going to do this for you too. I'm going to hand out one of these. It's a little study guide on what we went through in case you did not comprehend everything we talked about or you were a little confused. And you will have the rest of the period to work quietly on these reviews. And if you know what's on here tomorrow, you will be in great shape. There should be no reason that you shouldn't do well on here.
Is this like pretty much a test?
You look it over and see if there's anything on that that I didn't ask you.